Coming up today in episode 210 of Husavik Heroes, we play the Champions League quarterfinal against AC Milan. We've also got Fylkir taking on Portugal's Chaves in the Conference League quarterfinals, and we start off the episode with the NxGn list. I couldn't help myself, the Simon players off it. We'll reveal who those players are off the back of the intro. Back to Husavik Heroes here on Shaun Does FM. I hope you are doing well. If you are looking forward to today's episode with that Champions League quarterfinal against AC Milan, then do remember to go down below, leave a thumbs up on the video, and if you haven't done so already and are enjoying this series here on the channel, also remember to hit that subscribe button and turn that notification bell on as well. It is greatly appreciated. But we are starting off today's episode with the 2039 NxGn list. As you can see, we've got a few players on the list this year. We'll start things off with that Emil Holst, currently out on loan at Valencia, the Danish left back. He is all the way up in second place here on the NxGn list this season, which does seem a little bit high for a player with his potential. These days it has dropped down to 3.5 stars, but there's a good effort there from Emil Holst. On theory, we've got one of the more promising wonder kids in game at the club at the moment, albeit he is on loan at Valencia. Also, Kevin Vutus, our third choice striker, he is there in 20th place. He is our third choice at the moment in our Champions League squad. And also Jakob Dobes, who these days is out on loan at Lens, the box-to-box midfielder with 2-star current ability and quite high potential there. 5 stars white, 4 stars gold. He is also on the list in 34th place, and those are our 3 players who are on the NxGn list for 2039. But we have also signed a couple of players off of this list. I couldn't help myself, even though I'm probably not going to benefit from it too much for the remainder of this save. But we'll just go forward a little bit and reveal who we have actually signed. And as you can see on the left-hand side, we have signed 2 players for just under £1 million, and also a player who is going to join us on a free transfer at the end of this European season. So first off, we did sign Salvatore Lacalo out of Victoria Pilsen for just over £50,000. He was on that list, 1.5-star current ability, 4-star white potential, 3-star gold potential. He looks like a fairly promising midfielder come right winger. I think we're going to train him up as a midfielder because he does look a little bit more natural in that position, but he looks like a decent pickup there for just over £50,000 when you consider the value that has shot up already since the Bosnian has joined the club. And also we have signed a young centre-back off of the list out of Saint Etienne for just under £1 million, 900,000, and that is Sadim Mas out of France, 2-star current ability, 5-star white potential, 4-star gold potential, and he does look like quite a promising centre-back, come defensive midfielder, decent heading, jumping reach at that young of an age, and is 1.82 metres tall as well. Could potentially end up being decent in the DM role with that 10 passing, but he's a very good tackler, looks like quite a good defensive player, and he should become quite useful in this save in the future, even though, as I said, I don't know how much of that future I am actually going to see playing through this game myself. But 2 decent signings there off of the NxGn list. And going back just a little bit further to the transfer centre, we have signed someone else off of the NxGn list, and that was Salad Daloxi out of Red Star. He joins us at the end of this current season. He is a central midfielder, not too sure exactly how good he is yet, but he was on that NxGn list, so hopefully he turns out to have quite a bit of potential as well. And someone else who we did sign earlier in January when there were 6 months left on his contract, that was Sharuben Lamanza out of Sion, 18-year-old right winger who is out of Switzerland. Has a little bit of potential, and we bet some big clubs to his signature, the likes of Inter Milan and Manchester United. So I thought it would be a good idea to get him, and thankfully we did. So another youngster who is joining us come the start of the next European season. But we have played a few games off the back of where we did leave things at the end of yesterday's episode, off the back of being Real Madrid 3-2 in the second leg of that first knockout round of the Champions League. If you did miss that episode, I'll leave a link to it over in the top right corner. Off the back of that, we have wrapped up the final stages of the League Cup. We got a little bit lucky in the semi-final against Fylkir. It took an own goal in the 86th minute for us to beat those guys by 1-0. Mostly our second team starting that one, but that's still a little bit of a scratchy result, so wasn't too convinced by that, albeit Fylkir obviously doing a pretty good job being in the quarterfinals of the Conference League. And off the back of that, yet again, our rotation team, they took on NxGn in the final. Surprisingly, NxGn did get past HK in the other semi-final, and 2 second-half goals there to Malizio Menga and Kevin Wouters off of the bench to seal it late, and that made sure that we did pick up the League Cup yet again for a 17th time, I believe. With that 2-0 win in between these two legs, in today's episode, we take on Fylkir again, this time in the Super Cup. That could be an interesting game in terms of the lineups that both teams do pick, of course, with both teams being smack bang in the middle of a quarterfinal, us in the Champions League and Fylkir in the Conference League. And a quick reminder of what Fylkir are up to. They are taking on Xavier, the team who did knock out HK in that second knockout round of the Conference League. So hopefully Fylkir there can get a little bit of revenge over the Portuguese team. Of course, Portugal are just above us on the coefficient table. But now it is time for us to focus on our duty today, and that is the Champions League quarterfinal against AC Milan. We are taking these guys on. The first leg is at home this time. It's blocked up in the other two ties so far in the quarterfinals between Chelsea and Barcelona, as well as the two German teams, Hertha Berlin and Bayern Munich. That is the tie that we do need to keep an eye out on, because if we get past AC Milan, we take on the winner of that all-German tie. But a quick look at AC Milan going into this one, 4.5-star reputation club. In terms of their team, they certainly have a few good players, most notably Mamotovic up front. He is a very, very good striker. But apart from that, I'd like to think in all the other areas, we should have the better team. So hopefully that comes across here in these two legs. And also, they currently find themselves fourth in Serie A, a long way behind both Juventus and Inter Milan. Inter Milan we did beat twice, of course, in the group stages last week. So based on that, there should be a tie, which we can get through fairly safely and hopefully take on one of those German teams on our way to the final in tomorrow's episode. But as I said, I'm hoping this is a tie that we can do quite well in terms of our squad going into this game. Just one change on the bench, and that is that Erdin Shaihi makes his way on there. That is because Gabriel Capan has picked up a groin strain. He's probably going to be out for both legs of this one, but hopefully can take his place back on the bench for those semi-finals if we make it that far in tomorrow's episode. But we don't miss out on too much there in terms of ability, so it shouldn't change too much in terms of our overall squad depth, and all of our first choice players are available for this one. We'll come back shortly and hopefully get a good result here to take into the away leg as we take on AC Milan in the first leg from my arena. And here are the team sheets for this first leg at home. There we are, as I mentioned before, just that one change on the bench, Shaihi coming in for Gabriel Capan. But apart from that, a very, very strong Volsungur lineup. There are AC Milan, as I mentioned, Mamutovic up front, certainly a player to keep an eye out on. Also, Wozniak at centre-back was a player I did consider way back when signing over Elias Anderson. So that's also someone we could probably keep an eye out on as we get things underway here at my arena. And we have to go all the way forward to the 24-minute mark for our first highlight in this game. It is a throw which we do lose possession from, but thankfully AC Milan a little bit tardy there on the attack, and we get the ball back there as we nearly give them a good chance nice and early. But so far we have been slightly on the front foot in this game. Not many shots, but they have all been in our favour. 2-0 so far in terms of the shots taken in this game. And here's a chance for Adam Saki, who has picked up an early yellow card. That's something we might need to manage. We put a ball there, far post, and Agatigere gets his head on the end of that one. And I think we've opened the scoring here with our first highlight. I'm pretty sure he was onside there from that ball from Lapase. And hopefully we grab a 1-0 lead here with 20 minutes left in the first half. And indeed that is the case. So a strong start for us here in this first league. Lapase sees the run of Agatigere, just too much pace there for that right back, or left back it would be, on AC Milan's side, and Agatigere puts that in that bottom left corner. We'll just check here the offside call, but indeed he is a good stride or so onside, so never really in any danger, and we take an early 1-0 lead. And quite shortly off the back of that opening highlight, around the half-hour mark, free kick there for AC Milan. They get their head on the end of it. It comes off the underside of the crossbar. Thankfully, one of our defenders does clear it away. They blast the next chance over the bar, so AC Milan blow a chance there to equalise, still 1-0 after half an hour. And that is half-time in the first leg of this Champions League quarterfinal. Very quiet in terms of highlights, one each side, but thankfully our one did result in a goal, so we do take a 1-0 lead into half-time. One concern here, Lassana Doumbia did pick up a little bit of a knock during that first half and went down to a red heart late in it as well. So I think what we're going to do here at half-time, despite the fact that he is playing quite well, is bring on Bruno Costa for him. Also, at some stage during the second half, we might take off Adam Saki for Ori Porhalson, give the homegrown talent a little bit of game time. I say homegrown talent, the nation, of course, not the club, because he did come from Akronis, but at the moment, fairly happy with how this is going. Hopefully, we can grab a cushion goal here in the second half. We kick it off with a 1-0 lead. And just past the hour mark, I think it is time for us to make our second substitution. A few players out there now are on yellow cards, but Adam Saki only on a 6.5. So we will take him off and bring on Ori Porhalson instead. We'll leave things like that for now. A half hour left and still 1-0 Volsungur. And just about into the last 10 minutes of the second half. No highlights so far, but we're going to make our last substitution. Benvenu Bayer looks like the player who is struggling the most out there on a 6.7. Marcelo Jr. can come on for him. Still only 1-0 with 10 minutes left of this home league. And finally, something happening here in the second half of this one, the 87-minute mark, and we do see a highlight. It does look like we might be on the attack here, and Jonathan Berger puts that ball back in for Marcelo Jr. Nearly pulls off an absolute ripper there into the top right corner, but it's a really good save there from the AC Milan goalkeeper to keep it at 1-0, and no one gets their head on the end of the subsequent corner, so that might do it for that highlight as we do start to enter injury time in this one. As you can see in terms of the stats, we have well and truly been on top of AC Milan. We do have a late highlight here, and actually Lapase has put the ball in the back of the net, albeit I do suspect something fishy might be on here because we did not see much of that highlight, and indeed he was offside, so that was a little bit of a weird highlight here. Looks like it might just be one to finish this game off now with a few seconds left, as we do see AC Milan take a goal kick. They pump it deep. Denali wins the ball in the air. We knock it about in the midfield, and that will be the game. Here is that highlight, which we didn't see the start of, and obviously Lapase there an absolute mile offside, so that does explain why they didn't show the entire build-up for that potential goal. But in the end, a 1-0 result. Ideally, we would have got a bigger advantage there going away from home, so this could be a little bit interesting, this away league coming up against AC Milan, but thankfully we do still take an advantage into that one. Certainly didn't play as well as we are capable of, but we still get a result. And in the other quarterfinal, Manchester United pick up a very good result at home there, 3-0 over Arsenal. So we'll come back shortly, do an update on the Conference League. Fylkir as they take on Chavez, and then we'll get straight back into the action with a 1-0 lead against AC Milan going into that second leg. And we have gone for just under a week off the back of that 1-0 win in the first leg over AC Milan. As you can see on screen, yet again, a narrow win there over Fylkir in between the legs. And that does mean that we have already picked up a domestic double this season, picking up the Super Cup there, an early goal to Christopher Allergaard. And off the back of that, we did, of course, have a quarterfinal in the Conference League to update you guys on. In fact, it was actually played before that Super Cup final. And thankfully, Fylkir actually take a good result back home for that second leg. They have a 2-1 advantage there over Chavez, so hopefully they can make their way through to the final four of the Conference League and could give themselves a sneaky chance of being the first other Icelandic team to pick up a European trophy. That would be a nice way to get towards the end of the save here on the channel before we do go forward a couple of years in the future. We are going to do that off the back of the next European season and just see how things do start to trend once we do leave the club at the end of the next European season and see how things do go on without our presence. Hopefully, we have set up the club and the nation so they can prosper for a little while yet in Europe. And hopefully as well, the national team can actually start getting their act into gear as well, because throughout the save, they have been pretty useless. But in terms of the Champions League, we are playing the next game off the back of that last match day, so absolutely no updates needed. And we have exactly the same squad as we did have for that first leg. So we'll come back shortly from the San Siro and hopefully hold on to that 1-0 advantage and make our way through to another Champions League semi-final. And we go forward towards the 25-minute mark of the second leg for the first highlight. It starts off here with a throw-in to AC Milan, and Villarreal with a good chance there just jogs his way in from the touchline. Thankfully though, he blasts that over the bar. In terms of AC Milan, they look very similar to the squad that they put out through that first game as well. And it remains 0-0 here on the day, 1-0 in our favour coming up to the half-hour mark of the second leg, albeit AC Milan continue to get on the attack. Busaroge there with a header away, but at the moment AC Milan in the early highlights that we are seeing from this game are on the front foot, and there is their star striker Denis Mamutovic, puts that one in the back of the net, and just like that, this is certainly game on if it wasn't already 1-1 on aggregate and 1-0 to AC Milan on the day. Somehow he gets in between our defenders there. It's a ball back to Fernando. I think that's Hinterding and Mamutovic there. Just too much pace there, and he somehow gets in behind both Busaroge and Filippo Dinelli, takes that around Carl Vollen, and it is all locked up here half an hour into the second leg. And a few minutes off the back of that opening goal to AC Milan, we are back down the other end here and hopefully can strike back with a pretty immediate reply and try and settle the nerves here, because so far in this tie, we haven't quite been at our best. Interesting deflection there from that slide tackle, but thankfully we do keep position and try and get something going here down our left-hand side. Jonathan Berger plays that one back for Elaine Basicki. Busaroge now starts to inch his way towards the halfway line. We now start to switch things out towards our right-hand side. Lissana Doumbia, though, plays it back to Basicki, but this looks like it might be a bit of a long highlight. Hopefully, we can keep position, and this does end up being in our favour. Dinelli plays that out to Agatigere, starts to jog forward, plays that one back to Elaine Basicki. We start to inch our way now closer. Nice ball there for Agatigere from Lissana Doumbia. He buries that one in the bottom right corner, and not too long after falling behind on the day, we grab an equaliser, and that does mean now we get our lead back on aggregate as well. Hopefully, that will kick us into gear, because so far in this tie, definitely fair to say we haven't quite been at our best, but some good short passing there, patient build-up, and Lissana Doumbia slots through Agustin Agatigere to give us our 2-1 lead back on aggregate. And not too long before half-time here, we are inside the final third for a free kick, but Filippo Dinelli can't quite beat the AC Milan striker there to the ball, but we do keep position. It does look like this highlight is going to continue. Doumbia finds some space there on the edge of the box, and an absolute rocket there into the top left corner, and that is exactly what we wanted before half-time. There is our cushion goal on aggregate, and that will make it 3-1 overall, 2-1 on the day. And what a time for that strike by Lissana Doumbia. Absolute rocket there into that top left corner right before half-time, and that is a big, big goal, which hopefully gives us the momentum going into the second half. As you can tell by the stats, it's quite an even game, but in the end, I think we just about edging things and might just deserve that lead now, which we do have on the scoreboard. But so far, this is quite an even tie, and we have a 3-1 lead, so hopefully we can hold on to that in the second half. In terms of substitutions, I think we'll leave things as they are for now, because throughout that first half, the ratings did improve from what they were off the back of that AC Milan goal, and we'll get things back underway and hopefully see this out with a 3-1 lead on aggregate and up 2-1 on the day. And 5 minutes into the second half, we have our first highlight here. Yet again, we start things off with a free kick, albeit a lot deeper from where that previous highlight did start, the one which did end up with the goal scored by Lissana Doumbia. Interesting pass back there to Elaine Basicki. He shuffles that one back to Radenko Krolo. Good chance there, though, off the subsequent ball for Benvenu Bayer, but unfortunately hits that straight into the path of the AC Milan goalkeeper. We'll see if anything comes from the corner, but AC Milan do clear that one away. Still 2-1 on the day, 3-1 on aggregate early in the second half of the second leg. And we're going forward now just shy of the hour mark. We're going to make some changes here on both wings. Lapase has just picked up a very minor orange injury, and also, of course, Agatigere is on a yellow card, so probably a safe option here to take both of those players off. Menga at right wing and Alagard at left wing for the remaining half hour, and we still have our 2-goal cushion. And not too long off the back of those first few substitutions, we're going to make our last one now. Lissana Doumbia playing well, but is down to a red heart, Bruno Costa, to come on for him. And up to the 67-minute mark now for our next highlight in this game. It is a throw to AC Milan inside the final third of goal. These guys here would certainly make this game quite interesting. Radenko Krolo does win that header, but we do hit it straight back out to an AC Milan player, albeit Bruno Costa there with a good interception. Long ball over the top for Adam Saki, will rocket that into the top left corner. He must have been onside because absolutely no VAR check, and that is a big, big goal. 3-1 on the day, 4-1 on aggregate. Some good bench impact there from Bruno Costa. He makes the most of that somewhat loose pass there, and a nice long ball over the top for the run of Sakin and bangs that into the top left corner, and that makes it 4-1 now on aggregate. And shortly off the back of that third goal for us, we are back down AC Milan's end here for a free kick. We do deal with the initial danger, but they still keep possession. Put a ball into the mix. A good chance there, though, for Mamutovic to make it a double, just goes wide, and we still hold our 3-goal lead. And we're about to enter the last few minutes of this game. We do just give possession back there to AC Milan, albeit now I'm hopeful we've got enough of a buffer here to see out this game, even if they do get another goal late. But another ball played over the top here for Saki, and he bangs that one in the back of the net as well. This time, Elizio Menga with the assists. All of our substitutes, it feels like, having some good bench impact in this game. It's been quite an even game, and somehow we have come from 1-0 down to be leading at 4-1, and this means that we should be making our way through now without a shadow of a doubt into the Champions League semi-finals, being up 5-1 on aggregate. Yet another good finish there from Saki, and surely that will put this tie to bed with only a few minutes left. We will just get Elaine Bisicki to ease off tackles on that yellow card, but in the end, I'm pretty happy with how we've come back here from being 1-0 down early. We came back pretty soon with that goal to Agustin Agatigere, and from there, we just got a goal before half-time, that absolute rocket to Lasana Dumbia, and a second-half double to Saki means that we somehow come out of that second leg with a 4-1 win. So that's another good result there away from home, and that means that we do go through in the end quite comfortably, even though, as I said, both legs of that tie were quite even. That first leg, we were probably just the better team, but the second one, certainly quite an even game. AC Milan can probably feel a little bit hard done by that they have suffered a defeat there by 3 goals, but in the end, over both legs, I think we just about deserve to go through. So we'll go forward a few days. Before then, we'll see who did come out on top in the other tie on the other side of the draw between Man United and Arsenal. Arsenal pick up a second league win, but it is not enough for them to overcome a deficit. So it is us and Man United in the semi-finals. Who else will join us, especially in that tie between Bayern Munich and Hertha Berlin? We'll find out shortly, and also check in and see if Fylkir finish the job against Chavez in the Conference League. And we have gone forward a few days there off the back of that second league 4-1 win against AC Milan. As I said, quite a flattering scoreline there when you do consider how that game was played. But nonetheless, we make our way through to the semi-finals. And as you can see down below that are the results from the ties on the match day. The day after that, Barcelona go through ahead of Chelsea. So Pep still struggling to win a Champions League in England. They bow out 1-0. And also Hertha Berlin go through over Bayern Munich, which is not too unexpected. Of course, these days, Hertha Berlin are the reigning double champions of Germany. They go through 4-2, 5-3 on aggregate, and that was after they scored 2 goals in extra time. So what that does mean for the semi-finals in tomorrow's episode is Manchester United against Barcelona and Hertha Berlin versus Volsungur. We did take these guys on in the semi-finals of the Champions League a season or 2 ago. I believe it was. We got the job done over them. Hopefully the same case does apply this upcoming season. A quick look at them before we have a bit of a deeper look in tomorrow's episode. These days they are a 5-star reputation club with Roberto De Zerbi, of course, these days in real life from Brighton. He is in charge there at Hertha Berlin. They do have a decent team, obviously. And if we go over to the Bundesliga table, you can see that they are pretty much on the verge of winning that, 8 points clear of that Bayern Munich side they did just beat there in those Champions League quarter-finals, and it does look like they are about to make it 3 straight Bundesliga titles. So that's what you've got to look forward to in tomorrow's episode. If we want to make another Champions League final and try and make it back-to-back titles for the second time in this save, we have to get past the champions of Germany, albeit we have done that before. And before we do finish things off for today's episode, we make our way down, of course, to the Conference League to check in on Fylkir. And I'm happy to say, as you can see there, they have made their way through to these semi-finals, and they are taking on the team, though, who did get the job done over them twice in the group stage in Bayer Leverkusen. So it could be where Fylkir's run does end, albeit still a very, very useful run there for Fylkir. Hopefully that will help them out in Europe for upcoming seasons and should see them start to find a little bit of consistency. But they did make their way through to that semi-final off the back of actually losing the second leg to Chavez 3-2 at home. But thankfully, they got through on penalties, as did Bayer Leverkusen, albeit over a much stronger looking opposition in Newcastle. So I think it's fair to say that Bayer Leverkusen will be the favourites going into that semi-final, which will play alongside ours in tomorrow's episode. But hopefully Fylkir, having found a little bit of form in Europe, might be able to pull off an upset there. And if they can get past Bayer Leverkusen, I would start to give them a little bit of a sneaky chance there against one of Benfica or Valencia in that Conference League final, if they could find a way to make it that far. But that will do it for today's episode. Also, Shaun, we took him off late in that second leg. He is fine. It was just a 1 or 2 day injury, so he should be available come tomorrow's episode for the Champions League semi-final. But that will do it for today. We make our way through yet again to a Champions League semi-final, and it is going to be against Hertha Berlin in what will be our next competitive game. If you did enjoy today's episode, that win there over AC Milan, then do remember to go down below, leave a thumbs up on the video, and if you haven't done so already and are enjoying the series here on the channel, also remember to hit that subscribe button and turn that notification bell on as well. And until tomorrow for the Champions League semi-final of 2039, Volsungur versus Hertha Berlin, thank you very much for watching. Keep on keeping on, and I'll see you then. Cheers.